Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for more Into the Odd on Telling Tales. Welcome. Um, bit of a special one tonight. We've got I say this, and extra people have arrived at the bottom of the screen. Who knows what will happen? We've had dramatic internet-related catastrophes, but we'll see. We'll see how we do as we go on. Before we start introducing players and seeing how the internet dice have fallen for us, I'll do the usual promo stuff. If you check down below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to Twitch and to YouTube. You're watching on one. Please do check out the other. Links to our social media, our Patreon, our Discord. Those things all do what you might expect them to do. We run 3 weekly series at the moment. Mondays is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Wednesdays is Into the Odd, that's this, and Thursdays is the Cincinnati Chronicles, which is our ongoing World of Darkness anthology series. It's high concept, and it would take far too much time to explain in this little snippet, so go check it out if you're at all interested. Also, I would note that once a month we do a one-shot. They're usually very, very good indeed, and the next one of those is coming up this Saturday. That's Saturday the 18th of June, and it's Mork Borg, which is the second time we've run Mork Borg, and it's kind of a sequel, although you don't have to have watched the first one to enjoy it, although it is on our YouTube if you want to go check it out. And the big news for this one is that we'll also have a giveaway during it. We'll be giving away a very special limited edition Kickstarter edition of the Morkborg core rulebook on the stream. Of course, we won't be letting you know exactly when we'll be giving that away, or you naughty folks will just tune in for that bit. So come join us on Saturday at 3 o'clock BST for Mork Borg and win yourself a lovely chunk of doom metal TTRPG. That'll about do it, I think. I'm going to very quickly check the private channel. Awesome. Okay. In that case, I'm going to bring on the players one by one, and we're going to start with the man of the hour, who I didn't know whether he'd make it or not. He doesn't have a recap to do because he wasn't in the last session, but please welcome Chris, aka Doran Creed. How you doing?
Yeah, awful, but thanks for asking.
That's all right. That's all right. And here's his lovely Lego character art. There we go. We weren't sure if Chris was going to be able to join us. We came up with an alternate plan, but now that doesn't have to happen, and I do prefer the original plan. So I partly said that to inform the 2 people below that we're not doing it, but also I am frantically reconfiguring my plans in my head as we do this. I'm just buying myself time, really. So there we go. Enjoyable stuff. Looks like Chris might have frozen. Oh, no. It's fine. Oh, no, there he is. There he is. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, let's introduce the other players. Let's see how we do. We have Mike. We probably should mention that Doran Creed is maybe a traumatized butler turned explorer, by the way. We'll find out more about that later. Mike, who plays Yernak Farsi, and I don't think has his Lego art yet. I don't think. Maybe? Do you, Mike?
Yeah, I think there was something.
Oh, well, I don't have it. So
okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not offended.
This is going so well, can I just say. It's wonderful. It's really going delightfully. So, Mike, why don't you tell us what happened last time on Into the
Odd? So we started out going towards a big tower, and the reason we were going to the big tower is because we were going there for John's character, whose name has temporarily escaped me, Noreen Ooze or something like that. Anyway, we were going there because he wanted us to go there. The tower was boarded up. We blew our way in with some bombs. We climbed the tower. We did a bit of exploring around the tower, and near the top of the tower we encountered a caged walrus beast man thing, who we chatted to for a little bit. He wanted to be freed, promised us riches, from a faraway land if we freed him. His name was Glutton. We and ahed about whether we should free him, and he was very friendly and made some very compelling arguments. And then we sort of did a bit more investigation on the roof of the tower and found a really tempting fuel tank. And the decision was made by some that it would be fun to watch the tower blow up, and by others that it would be good and wise to kill Glutton, the walrus man beast. So we lit a fuse, lit a bomb, and dibned the shit out of that tower, causing it to explode everywhere, killing Glutton, and raining down rubble and walrus bits on us underneath.
Absolutely. Mike slipping in more Fred Dibner references there. So just to alienate anyone who didn't grow up in the UK in the late 70s, early 80s.
I can't imagine anyone who doesn't know who Fred Dibner is, in fairness. Like,
he's the second most famous man in the world. So there we go. Sorry, Mike, you were going on, although probably not for much.
Not for much longer. I think that all we did then, and I hope I'm not encroaching on Stephen's bit here, is we spent a night sort of recovering, and then we made our way to the coast and had a bit of a chat with a fisherman outside the Iron Coral, which is where we're heading to. But that didn't seem to reveal anything particularly interesting. And then we were at the Iron Coral, ready to go inside.
Absolutely. There we go. And speaking of Stephen, let's bring on the final member of our party for tonight. Unfortunately, Sam won't be with us, but we've got Stephen playing Helroth Tareen, master of the cliffhanger. Spoilers. Stephen, why don't you tell us what went down once you went into the Iron Coral?
It was fine. We got all of the loot and we went home. No. So there is a complicated series of interconnected chambers inside the Iron Coral. I don't think I'm going to give you a blow-by-blow of every room, but there was a significant number of them had walls that appeared to be made out of some kind of meat. Quite a lot of them.
I literally thought you were going to leave it as a significant number of them had walls.
Yeah. Some of them
non-zero, certainly.
Some of them had ceilings. One of them had a floor. There was quite a lot of sort of foamy kind of seawater that we waded through. We encountered a number of sort of creatures. I guess there was like some kind of lobstery shell people. So there was one that was kind of crabby and one that was kind of like a whelk or something. There was a gigantic slug with a sort of with like a chest on its back.
Yeah.
Like a box chest.
That left a couple of you temporarily blinded. But it was maybe the Whelk Man who had the most significant impact on our story, certainly for the purposes of Helroth Tareen.
Yeah, well, so Whelk Man was very keen that we went down what can only be described as a foamy chute. Because it was a chute containing foam. We had a look and explore around some side rooms, and like frankly just got they failed the vibe check. Like they just didn't seem like a good time. So Helroth, being a man of action, took matters in hand and hurled himself down the foamy chute, as any good adventurer would.
Perhaps wanting to show his mettle in front of Munford Dumbbell, famed explorer, mentor to the group, and quite visibly and audibly loathing Helroth Tareen every moment possible, to which Helroth seems either... I can't make up my mind whether Helroth is stubborn in his attempts to make Munford like him, or if he's just blissfully unaware.
He's cheerfully oblivious, yeah.
Cheerfully oblivious of Munford's undoubted hatred. And yeah, that's basically where we left off. The little shelled Whelk Man, rather gleefully like clapping his hands and that someone decided to jump down the foamy chute. And that's basically where we left it. Before we start, though, friends, oh God, there we go. That's fine. Mike, were you mapping? Was someone mapping? I can't remember. I think someone was mapping.
I was mapping.
Let's see what you got.
Well, it's not really suitable. It's not really suitable for public display. But basically, we came in at the top here, and then we sort of had a series of branching options. But we chose to go down sort of this bit here to where
Mike. That is remarkably accurate.
That's where the foamy chute is. I think it's on this side, perhaps the foamy chute. We'd explored this room down here, and that's got a meat wall in it, but we decided to go back to here, and Halroth made the decision to
take the plunge.
shoot himself.
Shoot down the chute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, do you want to take a photo of that and ping it into the Discord, and then we can flash it up every now and then. But in the meantime, we've lost Chris. In the meantime... we will hope that Chris comes back, and I will stick to my original plan. God damn it. I will have faith in Christopher. So how we're going to start off then is we're going to start off with Helroth Terrene. Helroth.
Hi.
The foamy chute is neither comfortable nor, it has to be said, you'd prefer it to have a flatter trajectory for sure. It is a little bit like only slightly not falling down something. There is a faint whistle as you make your way down of the air rushing past you, and then with a unpleasant and crunchy splat, you land on some kind of floor in a puddle of foam, and a puddle of foam and unpleasantness. It's safe to say. Once you regain your sensibilities, other than a steady drip of foam from the chute above you, which is quite a way up in a roof, so not only have you slid down a fair distance, but you also fell a good maybe 12 feet or so. In fact, I'd go so far as to say you can take a D4 of damage.
Gosh. Right. I don't have a D4. Let me just pull up a dice roller.
That's all right. Could use a D8 and halve it.
Where's he there? I got excited because I've got like some D10s and D6s and a D20. And I thought I could roll real dice for this one. Wait, that's... okay. I thought that I had rolled a 5 on a D4. That's a D8. Right, let's try again. It's okay. I'll roll a 4. All right.
Okay, then
This is going to be a short session, I think. I've got 3 hit points.
Okay, that's fine. But remember the hit points are just a shield.
Yeah, so I'm down to 0 of 3 hit points, and I guess I'm subtracting 1 from my strength and then making a strength save.
Yes, that is indeed correct.
I need a 10 or less. That's a 6.
Hey, there we go.
Not immediately dying.
Well, that was going to give me an alternate solution there for what to do with Helroth, of a collapse into unconsciousness. But instead, Helroth, you can pick yourself back up to your feet with a few creaks and pains. You find yourself in a room very, very different to the one you just left. All the walls are coated, or I should say covered, really, in slightly plush white leather.
Ooh.
To I believe there is a door in all 4 walls. But I will just double check that. Actually, no. There is a door to in the left wall, a door in the top wall. I shouldn't say that. The west, the north, and 2 doors in the east. All of which are covered in odd alien symbols that you have never seen before in your life.
Okay, so these are doorways with doors and then
Mhm.
alien symbols. Okay.
Yes.
What about
On the south wall, the only
Yeah.
one without a door, are a number of soft, leather-clad white chairs. They look very comfortable.
Okay. So this is I'm going to assume just the reception room for some kind of heaven.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So one door north, one door west, two doors
Mhm.
east. Some lovely. So, like, I does it look like, I assume, a constructed room rather than
Oh, yes. It's very,
naturally formed
very
like.
much a constructed room. Yes.
Okay. Does it have? What's the floor like?
Let's say it's kind of paneled white marble.
Okay. I will have a look at the couches and see if there's anything that seems lootable.
No, all blank, all clean, all just some lovely chairs.
Okay. You see, in my, I forget how it was described last session, but like whatever, we're gonna go with what I remember,
Mm-hmm.
which is I remember the chute being to the south of the room upstairs,
Correct.
even though Mike has it pointing to the west.
Mm-hmm.
So, believing that I've gone south, I'm now going to try to get back to the main party by going through the door to the north.
The door to the north. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. Let me just have a quick look. Helroth goes up to the door with the odd alien symbols on it. You reach out and kind of take a hold of the handle, and it just kind of creaks open to reveal. Well, I'm sure we'll find that out another time. Helroth mentioned there no attempt to kind of call back up to up the chute, and honestly, you wouldn't have been able to be all that audible anyway over the foam running down the chute and the distance and the convenient narrative that I'm laying on top of things.
Helroth just assumes the others are going to follow, so they'll be here any minute.
Absolutely. Well, in that case, let's temporarily remove Helroth while Stephen takes care of his nameplate. And yeah, back up in the foamy chute room, there is a brief pause of silence as Helroth kind of like woo down the chute, and Munford says, "Thank God for that. Shall we move on?"
He's dead then.
I'm sure if he survived, we'll bump into him later. Think of him as a forward scout.
I did like Helroth.
Sorry, Mike, what did you
Good
say?
lad.
I did like Helroth.
Yes. His loss is an enduring tragedy, maybe apart from the hat. In any case, shall we go? As Munford is saying this, now, Stephen, Grabina Gill is, if I believe the description on the rolled character was attractive dullard.
She is an attractive dullard, yeah.
So, do you believe that this character might, upon entering the Iron Coral on business of her own, presumably exploring and looting, might be dullard enough to call out in an attempt to find some friendly souls in there?
I think she might be.
Well, then why don't you tell us what the party hears echoing through the corridors of that opening entrance to the Iron Coral?
I'm hesitating by immediately falling back on kind of playing her as like an Essex girl. Hello? Yeah, that's how she's coming out. Is anyone there?
Hello?
Hello?
Has anyone appeared in the room, or is this a voice calling from the distance?
It's definitely a voice calling from kind of like further back the way you've come back towards the entrance area. Also, Mike, you know those issues you were having on your mic with the loudness? It's gone the other way, mate. So
Okay.
drop it down slightly. Great consistent stream tonight from all of us. Munford kind of like looks around and kind of like squints up his face and looks back towards the entranceway and just kind of indicates to the rest of you kind of like go, let's go investigate this new presence.
Where are you?
I'm in the Iron Coral.
Oh, that's where we are as well.
Yeah. Right.
Some dynamic dialogue tonight.
This stream has it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Stay where you are, and we'll follow your voice.
All right. I suppose I should keep on talking then, shouldn't I?
Grabina, why don't you give us an example of the fascinating conversation that you come out with as the others make their way back towards the entrance room?
I think she's probably going to describe her surroundings to help her be more identified more easily. So, it's damp in here, isn't it? It's proper soggy. Someone needs to come and mop all this up.
That's amazing. So the party emerges back into that entrance room, which, if you would like me to describe it for you again, is essentially a dark cave with the sound of kind of metallic echoing waves. I'll describe the kind of exits from there once we're done with introductions and might want to be proceeding further on. But yeah, Grabini, you see this little group of ne'er-do-wells emerge. You see the youthful Yernak Farsi, the servile Doran Creed, and the wanker Munford Dumbbell emerge into this room. Grabina Gill, why don't you give a description of yourself, please?
So I think she's going to be sort of young, maybe in her 20s, kind of blonde ringlets, like a sort of, I don't know what she would be wearing. Maybe a grubby apron
with a load of blood on it.
Yeah, a sort of a blood-stained apron.
Yeah.
But yeah, like fairly kind of lithe and sort of muscular with it. She looks capable, if utterly vacant.
Hey, that's my Tinder profile. So Munford kind of like elbow barges his way through the group and says, "Well, young lady, introduce yourself."
I'm Grobina Gill. I'm an adventurer. You see, it's why I came down to the Iron Coral. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Why don't you give me a willpower roll to see how Grabina does with Munford?
Ooh,
I mean, hopefully better than Hellroth. But we should say Grabina's stats are unbelievable.
Yeah, she's okay. So Hellroth, just for comparison, his willpower was 6. Grabina's is 16.
Another one of her stats is also 16.
Yeah, that's one of her 16s. She rolled an 8, so yeah, that's a pass on the willpower.
Munford kind of like strides a couple of steps forward and reaches out and kind of like gently and entirely inappropriately tousles a couple of Grabina's ringlets with one well manicured hand and says, well, this is a upgrade.
What are you talking about, funny man?
Oh, I'm sorry, my dear. We just lost a member of our party, you see, to misadventure, and well, it's good to have some more sophisticated company here down in this madness.
Well, my name is Grobina Gill, but you may call me Miss Adventure if you like. Great session, guys. It's good.
I would like to announce the closure of Telling Tales. No point going on after you peaked. So that was either the top or the bottom of the parabola. I'm not sure which. So Munford says, "Well, and I, young lady, am Munford Dunbell. It's entirely up to you whether you've heard of Munford, or you can roll to see. I believe we had people roll willpower to see if they'd heard of him before.
That would require Grobina to be interested in things in the world.
To have, interest in colors, sounds, and shapes. As you clearly have no idea of his name, he kind of sort of makes himself a little taller on the balls of his feet and says, "Yes, well, I am a richly decorated explorer of these kind of far-flung places, and these are my companions. Seems too strong. These are my assistants here in the Iron Coral, and you are welcome to join us should you wish. We do have a space free in our group."
Oh, right. Well, yeah, I suppose. Do you know where the treasure is?
How charming. Well, that is what we are trying to find out, young lady. And the Yernak, Doran, introduce yourselves.
Oh, yeah. Hi, yeah. My name's Yernak. Nice to meet you.
We're going to embarrassingly have the we can't have every character attracted to the only female character.
I think we can have characters who are attracted, but as long as the session doesn't become about them relentlessly pursuing.
Yeah. It's fine. Also, Doran Creed, I can imagine, has very little interest in anything. I was going to say very little interest in anything but his candle art. Let's not dwell on that for any longer than necessary. But Chris, why doesn't Doran Creed introduce himself?
It'd be quite stiff and butlerian with Doran Creed. Charmed to meet you.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Well then, folks, the room you're in, let me just remind you of the various exits from it. And you know what? This seems an ideal opportunity to bring up Mike's lovely map. If I could just do that. There we go. And if I can actually zoom in. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So through Mike's slightly doctor-like writing, you can see that he attempted to come back there, but he was on mute because he's an idiot. So this is the entrance area. There's an alcove here to a room with a soft, meaty pile in it that made one of the characters, I think Helroth, feel very faint when he went in. Possibly not Helroth, and therefore we retreated. And it was Yernak and decided not to go in. This is the foamy passageway, which we've been down and through a number of different rooms. There's a soft, meaty wall along the west side here, and along the east side there are two exits. One is a kind of crawl space that looks quite uncomfortable to go down, and the other is another chute, a chute without foam this time, that does look a lot shallower and less terrifying than the chute that Helroth decided to leap face first down. Obviously we can go all the way back down here and try the different rooms that we went down there. So it's up to you guys. Munford, as ever, is letting you take the lead conveniently.
Right. Well, we are back here. I don't think we should go down the foamy passageway again, because we've already been down there, and there were some bad things down there. I think we should try something different.
What are the other choices then?
Well, as I see it, and I am quite an experienced adventurer now, I would say that we have the option of the crawlway in here, the chute in here, or we go somewhere else.
I believe also Sam's character Tiva, which I misspoke is also a female character, investigated this soft, meaty wall and found it was easily diggable into. So, yeah. What do we reckon?
Well, as my grandfather
Hearty.
always used to say, when you're stuck in a meat dungeon, one direction is as good as the other.
Very
Sounds clever.
specific man, your grandfather.
Sounds very wise.
Well,
Anyone
then,
feeling hungry?
you suggest, dear boy, are you suggesting eating your way through the wall?
It has been a while since we last ate. Just saying.
I could not think of a less efficient way.
You're on mute.
Well, I'm going to try cutting some of the meat, and we'll see where it gets us.
Sure. Well, then, if you're scraping away at this this meaty wall, you can certainly carve chunks off it perfectly easily, but it definitely starts slowly growing back as the kind of more you scrape off. So in order to kind of get ahead of that unpleasant regenerative quality of it, why don't you give me your choice of either a strength or a dexterity roll, please?
We'll go with strength. I need a 13, and I've rolled a 6.
Here we go. With great carving motions of your knife, you cut quivering slices of unpleasant. You're not sure if it is meat or coral, but either way, it's slapping wetly to the floor in great chunks as you make your way through to reveal indeed what seems to be a narrow tunnel ahead of you, a tunnel sort of leading just within vision of Munford's lantern towards a narrow dead end. You can, however, see that there is a form on the floor of this dead end, a little, maybe about halfway up. It looks quite humanoid. It is not moving.
Oh. Well, I'll call people through if there's space for them to gather, and we can get a bit of light in there.
Mm-hmm.
How big's the tunnel?
Probably maybe like 10 foot or so wide.
Okay.
But narrowing as it goes.
And is it made of meat or something more
Mm.
solid? Okay. Into the narrowing meat tunnel.
There's the episode title. Being nervous of the fact that we might get trapped here, I'm going to be deftly using my candelabra to keep the walls from closing in behind us.
Just kind of wedging the candelabra in, trash compactor style.
Kind of like using it like a really, really terrible shovel that is not designed for this.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you can batter away at those meaty walls with your candelabra. Mike's loving my phrasing. Yeah, they don't seem to be too much in danger of closing in on you, but you can certainly try and stymie some of the regenerative qualities of the wall with your candelabra. Yernak, you kind of taking point in this and going forward and taking a further peek in?
Yeah, I want to look brave, so yeah, I'll do that.
Sure, absolutely. as you take a few steps forward, can you give me a dexterity roll, please?
Oh god, I need less than a 6. I rolled a 5.
There we go. You take a few steps forward and suddenly realize that what you thought was just kind of striations in the ground and the walls of the tunnel are tendrils, twitching, curling tendrils, partly wrapped around a corpse on the floor that seems to have been partially eaten by them. As you watch, one of the quivering tendrils takes like a lump out of the back of the poor soul ahead of you and kind of like whips back into the wall with a sort of like noise as it devours a small bit of him. The tendrils are kind of like whipping round, creeping and crawling and trying to find something else in the tunnel, but you manage to kind of like, with a bit of quick footwork, you manage to dodge any of them, but they are sort of whipping around curiously.
And am I close to the body at this point?
Yeah, you're quite close to the body. There are a few still lashed around it, so yeah.
Can I see anything else further down the tunnel? Is it definitely a dead end?
It's definitely a dead end, yeah.
Okay. In that case, I might try and grab the part of the body that's nearest to me and drag it.
Sure, absolutely. And you can absolutely do that, and you can dodge the tendrils as you go. You reach out and you grab the foot of the corpse and kind of like, so you're kind of dragging it backwards towards, yeah. You drag it backwards. Kind of notice as you're going back towards the room, about halfway there, the corpse, for whatever reason, gets a lot lighter. But you manage to kind of like make your way to the room and look round at the leg you have pulled off the body. It's kind of like in a even sadder little heap, a quarter of the way back towards the room now, just like folded in an uncomfortable looking position with one leg missing. As you are looking down at what you have pulled off the body, however, out from one pocket pops a small leather bag. A coin purse, in fact.
I will investigate that.
Well, you can investigate to the tune of 20 silver, my friend. Munford turns to Grabina and says, "You see, my dear, in places like these, it is, I believe, finders keepers would be the term in the less affluent areas of Bastion, which I think I detect from your accents that you are a member.
That's all right. I'm sure when we all get back to the tavern, I'll be able to persuade Yernak into buying me a drink or two. Won't you, Yernak? Nice, generous boy.
Yeah, I think I probably could do that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can afford that now. Munford leads in close to Yernak and says, "Hands off, boy."
I'd never thought that I would end up in this kind of roleplay group, and yet here we are.
Me neither. But in my defense, I am trying to play Munford as unpleasantly as possible. So
That's fair.
Yeah. So he's going to be a
Never
sleazebag.
has Doran Creed in his professional career had to so strongly suppress the urge to tut audibly.
Perfectly legitimate. So we find ourselves in that entrance room once more. And yeah, the only untaken routes out are a chute to the northeast and a crawlway to the southeast. Both on the east wall.
Well, it'd be
Shoot
daft.
for the shoot, then, gentle friends. It seems the least unpleasant.
Isn't it a bit one way, though?
It's actually probably possible. It's shallow enough that you could probably make your way back up. It would just be annoying.
I mean, there's a lot about the contents of the Iron Coral. It's annoying.
I'll go and have a look down it.
You can kind of, what can you hear? What you can probably hear is sort of I'm going to say you can hear a vague slapping noise, Mike. And also, actually, now that I've you can. I know this is slowly turning into Matt's special effects simulator, but you can probably also hear a kind of confused sounding burbling, like like that. That's what that sounds like.
Okay. Well, I'll go down first. Please don't follow immediately after me. I don't want anyone to land on me. But I'll see you on the other side. And with that, I will start to make my way down it.
Absolutely. It is definitely kind of shallow enough that you can just kind of like make your way down it without having to slide, which I'm assuming you're going to do. And you pop out into, it has to be said, a rather large room and a rectangular one, kind of with it's kind of much wider north-south than it is east-west. You've popped out at the very southwest corner of the room. And within it, largely, the south wall is sort of normal looking, or normal for down here, a bunch of weird red coral. All the other walls are made of what seems to be a very hard glass-like coral, which you can kind of look out, and it is submerged under the waves of near the shore. And the slapping noise you heard was a number of dead fish floating around in the sea and slapping against the walls, these transparent walls that you can see out. There are also a number of odd lamprey-like worm creatures kind of latched onto the glass and sort of like sucking away at it as they slowly make their way around it. In the center of the room is another corpse. It looks cold, pale, and feeble and humanoid. Maybe it was human, or maybe it wasn't, with weird white eyes. Either way, it's certainly not too active anymore. Next to it, hunched over, is a hulking toad-like creature that's sort of with very sort of primitive, like muscular arms, is sort of nudging the corpse. And looking generally very down on its luck and unhappy with the situation. It has not noticed your arrival in the room yet. Oh, and there's a couple of exits out as well, but we'll get onto those once we're thinking about leaving, I suppose.
Okay, well, I will be very quiet, and I will sort of turn around to the chute bit to make sure that everyone coming down is also being told to be very quiet.
Sure. Who's next down?
So he's dead then, is he?
I guess that means Doran's next. I'll follow Doran.
You both make your way down to eat. Like, let's have a roll of let's have Yernak roll dexterity to see how well Yernak signals for silence, so that the others see it on their way down.
Wow, I made it. I needed 6, rolled 5 again.
Of course, that doesn't mean you have to be silent. But neither Grabina and Doran both see that Yernak seems keen for silence as you're sliding down the chute. In that case, you emerge out and you see this situation as well. Like I said, this hulking toad-like thing has not seen anyone yet. It's entirely occupied with looking a little bit confused about the body on the ground.
I think Grabina's going to reach into a bag quietly, fish about for a bit, and pull out a pistol.
Anything from anyone else?
Kind of look to the left and look to the right, allow a pregnant pause, and then declare, "Good afternoon!"
Fair enough. Why don't you give me a willpower roll, please? Yeah, well, you introduce yourself to this weird creature. Yeah, sure. The toad-like creature certainly looks a bit alarmed as it turns around and sees three people, one of them holding a gun, kind of like standing there, and then just kind of like waddles back a little bit, makes an odd burbling noise, and just kind of goes.
What now?
I think Grabina's looking to the others for a sort of a cue.
Doran?
Are you one of the locals then to the Coral?
The thing kind of like turns around and sort of like waves one of those primitive looking, almost vestigial looking arms towards outside, towards the sea, and goes.
Oh, I see.
What did you see?
The toad-like creature is now kind of like patting itself with both hands and like indicating the sea behind it. If anyone would like to try and interpret this complex contextual puzzle, feel free to roll willpower.
I failed.
Then interpret it as you will.
Well, I will just make my way over towards it, kind of a little bit closer, and being as unthreatening as I can be.
Sure.
And I'd like to take a little bit of a closer look at the toad creature, but also the body next to it.
Sure. If you had to guess anything, you'd say that the odd, pale and feeble humanoid probably starved to death. It looks very bony and lean. It certainly does not look like the toad creature just squashed it or anything. You imagine that the creature was just investigating what it found while it's presumably seems quite lost in this place. Doran Creed, was that a successful willpower roll I saw?
It was
You
indeed.
think the toad creature is from the sea. You think the toad creature would like to go back to the sea.
Oh, well, it seems to me like our friend would like to find a way out of the coral.
It makes a very odd noise.
Wait, go out the chute, out in the sea.
The hulking creature kind of like plods kind of quite heftily towards the group in general, and you feel like the ground every time a large step is taken on its big sort of like flat amphibian feet. It sort of looks down at you, Grabina, as it passes and sort of goes and starts to kind of like make its way, squeezes itself into the chute, and you hear like as it starts to crawl its way up. Also, after a few seconds, you hear a sound coming from about halfway down the chute, going, "Good God! What you, sir? This is not a two-way." And then after a few more seconds, Munford, coated with not a small amount of slime, comes out of the bottom of the chute and kind of like thrashes around the floor for a few seconds before standing up, attempting to straighten himself out and going, "No bloody manners! Frog!"
You're right.
"No, my dear, I am flustered, positively flustered."
I'm sorry to hear that.
Is there anything of interest in here?
Some
There was
words,
body.
it seems.
I should probably mention those doors about now, shouldn't I? One of the coral wall to the south appears to have some kind of covered vent, and on the opposite side, on the east wall, opposite to where you came in, is a metal door.
Metal. Seems an age since I've seen metal and not meat.
Metal, not meat. Metal, not meat. Sorry. Yeah. What are we doing, folks? I should also mention, by the way, that kind of pale, feeble humanoid was completely naked, in case you were wandering about, kind of patting it down for valuables.
I'm going to examine this metal door.
It is very metal and quite door-like. There is no remarkable feature about it. It seems to perhaps slide aside because it has like a sort of handle that you'd grab and pull rather than a twisty one. But other than that,
I think once again I will be unable to suppress my habits, and I will knock politely before opening the door.
Sure, absolutely. Well, let me check what lurks through that door. You hear do you remember? Well, Chris won't, but in the last session, there was like this sort of like pulsing, unpleasant sort of like noise that you heard further down near the foamy rooms, but I don't think you ever discovered the source of it. That noise starts, but from the direction this room is leading. And while you ponder on that, Stephen, you were saying you were going to investigate something yourself, I think.
I was going to look at the body and just try to figure out, is it a very, very thin human, or is it a very, very thin something a bit like a human?
You know what? You'd think it maybe used to be human, but then it became something else, and now it's dead.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to stare out of the window into the sea for a bit.
There is a dead fish almost exactly on your line of sight. It's a turbot.
I don't know how much Scribina knows about fish. It's a fish.
Well, that's a turbot, that is.
Oh, right.
Fetches quite a good price back in Bastion.
Are they normally that still?
No, that's a dead one, but I'm used to handling the dead ones because I am a fishmonger by trade.
So. Oh, right.
Hey, baby, I'm used to handling dead fish.
I mean, I'm no stranger to handling meat myself, if you know what I mean. I was a hog slaughterer.
Oh, right. Well, Mumford's giving me a bit of a look right now. Maybe we should get back to
a very venomous one.
Yeah. Maybe we should get back to this adventure stuff.
Chris, what are you doing with that door? Please take us away from this. Or don't forget, there's the covered vent on the south wall as well. Anyone doing anything in particular?
I don't. I mean, I will go and look at the door if Chris's internet does not allow him to.
That's a good question. Can you hear us, Chris?
He's not.
No. I guess not. Which is odd because we can see him.
Let's go to the door.
Yeah. Let's go to the door. Okay. Are we sliding open this metal door?
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is. He's back. We could see you that entire time, Chris, by the way, which was hilarious. So we were just like, Chris, what are you doing? And you
there's no point in me saying anything because my ping goes up to like 25 seconds. So if I say something, I'll hear it in 25 seconds. So I have to wait until it gets below 100 milliseconds.
No, it was just because usually we see you slow down or vanish, but that time you were just like, it was just funny. So this metal door, you slide aside, Yernak, and it leads to a short corridor with a opening at the far end of it on the south side, but it's only a short little corridor. But I'm assuming we're perhaps going along it and having a look, see what lurks beyond that opening.
Yeah.
So you walk down that, and it opens onto a fairly square room, where the red coral walls are coated almost entirely in an unpleasant looking, and it has to be said, smelling yellow slime. The slime itself is twitching slightly, as if odd little electric currents are running through it, and attached to one wall, let's say the east side of the wall, is an odd pulsing sack with a balloon-like body and two kind of sucker feet which affix it onto the wall nearby. It is the same color as the slime, but unlike the slime, it is faintly glowing and making that kind of noise that you have heard a couple of times so far. Along the near it, on the east wall, is a passageway leading east, and on the south wall is a glass window that looks like it slides aside, and you can see that beyond that is a corridor that also seems to be somewhat covered in the same yellow slime as in here. Hopefully that's not too complex a description. Munford glances over at the pulsing sack and kind of wrinkles up his face and says, "Disgusting."
What is that thing?
I don't know, my dear. Perhaps one of our companions here should investigate it.
I'm gonna shoot the thing.
Fair enough. That's amazing. Just roll for damage.
That's a 3.
That is a 3, and that definitely takes it over its limit. So that means that it needs to make a strength save. Which it fails, and I think I already determined that like a failed test is probably just putting an enemy out of action. I'm not going to mess around with them, putting them out of their misery. It doesn't seem very into the odd, does it? Let's save that for the gritty and brutal dungeon bashers. You draw your musket. It was a musket, I believe. Pistol. Draw your pistol. Fire at the pulsing sack. And it basically bursts with an unpleasant wash of yellow slime and a kind of very odd piercing whistle. It feels like it would have been a full-throated scream if you hadn't hit the thing dead on and burst it first try. And oddly, you hear that kind of whistling, faint screaming whistle, definitely in your heads, not through your ears. Munford, for his part, goes, and then the entire thing kind of flops down on the wall like a burst, sodden, slimy balloon, and the sucker feet slowly kind of like, and the whole thing's just a nasty, stinking mess on the floor.
Well, okay. Done.
Thanks. I'm going to go over and see if there's anything that like resembles cash in there.
Well, before you...
That's how adventuring works, right?
Before you quite do that, everyone's kind of attention has been obviously drawn a little bit by Grabina just shooting this thing on the wall, and there is a sort of dramatic kind of overpowering battering noise, like great waves crashing against something as the glass door kind of slides aside, and a man looking very much like a disheveled, rather grubby treasure hunter kind of like comes through the door and kind of slams it shut behind him, at which point that kind of battering, washing noise just disappears, presumably baffled by the glass door, and he wheels around with a club in hand and says, "Oi, that's mine! I was going to hit that!"
Very sorry.
Yeah, well, you find your own.
Well, I did.
Tiny balloon.
I was here first.
I think you'll find I was here first.
No, you were through there first.
I was here before I was there.
Well, I wasn't here when you were here before you were there. So how do I know you were here before you were there before you were here? I don't know. I wasn't here.
You can't wrap me up in your riddles. All I know is that thing's mine. He's like digging for lice through a big scraggly beard with one hand while he's doing this.
Does it look like I've just shot a bag of pus, essentially?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it does not look like there's anything of value in there, except maybe if your culinary taste runs to the truly exotic and disgusting.
You're welcome to it.
Yeah, well, that's all I wanted. He kind of like sort of hunches over to it and bends down and starts like poking feverishly among it with his club and going, disappointing. Right. Munford is kind of stood to one side with his eyes just literally rolled up to the ceiling going, I fear I've made a terrible mistake coming here.
Should we keep on going?
Yeah.
I don't really like this room that much.
No. Yeah.
Matt, did you say the exit is to the south through the glass window?
Yeah, the south, there is a near where the pulsing sack was shot. There is a corridor leading to the east, but the glass door is on the south side of the room, absolutely.
East or south?
Munford kind of like pokes, literally pokes the side of the man with his saber blade and says, "Sir, what don't poke me. What lay to the south?" A lot of noise and nothing else. It's all up to you whether you think that this man is trustworthy.
I think that we're probably all exchanging some looks to each other right now and maybe making our way south.
Sure, that seems reasonable to me. Munford certainly seems happy to do so. He gives the man one last stare as the man is still feverishly and perhaps beyond the point of hope, poking his way among the piles of slightly glowing yellow slime on the floor. You can open the glass door, slide it aside. I assume that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
And you enter into, my friends, a bellowing corridor. You can see no reason why the waves and the sea outside striking the exterior of the coral here would make such a loud noise, but this is almost definitely the source of that echoing metallic battering of waves you've heard since you first arrived in here. Walking through this corridor is quite painful, the level of kind of like crashing white noise around you as you do so. The slime on the floor is somewhat slippery in here. It has to be said, it's the same yellow slime as before, but nothing you can't navigate. I'm not going to ask you to roll or anything like that. Once you reach the end of the corridor, you reach another corridor, a corridor that is going east to west. Towards the east, it looks like it opens out onto another room. And in both ways, it looks like it opens out to another room. But without proceeding a bit further down with your lanterns, you can't be absolutely sure.
I think that if we went west, we'd be heading sort of like back towards the main bit. So
back
maybe
towards like the foamy rooms and stuff.
It
seems a good shout. You think you're a little bit of a ways from there, so there might be stuff in the interim, but certainly, you're not wrong.
I'll suggest to the group, if we go that way, we could at least find another way back that doesn't involve going up the chute. So it would be good to have an escape route if we need one.
Coward, eh?
No, just being sensible. I thought that was an important part of adventuring.
I've taught you well.
Right, yeah. Yes, you have. Thank you.
Are we heading west then?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure. You find yourself in a what I'm going to call an average-sized square room. It's very misshapen, and it has lumpy metallic walls that seem to have been very inexpertly and chaotically beaten into shape, with a lot of bloody smears all over them. Scattered across the center of the room are a number of meaty chunks of cold grey flesh. There are odd-looking symbols on the wall to the north, symbols that Helroth might recognize were he here. There is obviously the passageway behind you, and then on top of that, there is a metal door on the south wall.
So we came in from the east.
That's correct.
Either north or south.
When you've finished off your map, Mike, do you want to hold it up to the camera a bit, maybe?
Yeah, it's got a little bit complex and messy, but I think that we are in sort of this sort of place now. Markings on the wall to the north, it's a little bit misshapen. There's a passageway to the south. We've come through here from this direction.
Again, I am struck dumb by Mike's mapping skills. Very accurate to the map in the book.
Should we go and have a look at the markings?
Yeah, right.
Munford, kind of as you stride towards them, kind of points and says, I'd be a little bit wary of those. I recognize the script, if not the intent.
Oh, right. Is it something bad?
Yes, maybe. Give him a go.
Be wary, he says, but give it a go, he says. Goodness.
Yeah. Is it a script that I can read?
No.
Okay. Well, I could trace my finger maybe across the first few letters or characters or symbols.
God, Antom's here with us. Literally as soon as you touch any of the alien symbols, they start to glow an odd kind of whitish glow, and part of the misshapen wall judders and slides down into the ground, opening up an entranceway to another room.
Oh, I didn't think that was going to happen.
That was good.
Yes. Instructions well followed, Yernak.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Munford. Let's have a look then.
You walk into this room, which is kind of a relatively average-sized room. In the center of it are a number of large boxes, most of them made of a thin metal, but at least one quite large one, very big and ceramic-looking. To the north is a covered vent, and to the west is a crawlway.
Does that... So my internal sense of direction says that maybe that vent is the one that leads to the room with the ocean, right?
Yeah, that all stacks up, because that's the room that we're in. That's the sort of secret room. That's a vent. That's a vent, and then the crawlway would come out of here, and I guess it would kind of go
to the entrance
this way. Yeah,
for the entrance crawlway that didn't go down. Okay.
Those seem like very good bets to avoid us having to open them and go look in things and stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Did you say there's some chests and stuff in this room?
Yeah, there's a few boxes of thin metal and a large ceramic box.
Well, Gravina, take your pick.
Oh, thanks. I am going to walk up to one of the metal boxes, fish around in Gravina's bag, and she's going to produce a hand drill, which I assume is a sort of cranky-turny one. Unless the box has obviously got like a lid or something, I guess you would open it if it's got a lid. But
I'm gonna say they've got they've all got lids on them. Yeah,
I think she's probably still pulled out the hand drill and started anyway, and then been like, "Oh, lids."
The concept of them has returned.
She's remembered lids. She's going to have a look
to her cerebellum. Inside the thin metal box are several scraps of what looks like jerky spread along the bottom.
There's a lot of meat down here, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes, I suppose there is. But maybe this is just what adventuring's like.
While Grabina is investigating these thin metal boxes, is anyone having a poke around the big ceramic one?
Yeah, I think that I'd get to that eventually, yeah.
Sure. You take a look inside the big ceramic box, which obviously the lid is quite heavy to lift off as you kind of grab it and tilt it to one side and put it on the floor with a clack. Inside are what look like 6 jars full of green beads.
Oh.
They look like quite nice beads.
Right. I might unscrew one of the jar lids or take the lid off and just have a look and inspect.
Sure. You kind of poke around, and what immediately hits you is these beads. Try as you might, you really are struggling to be able to take them out of the jar and hold them in your hand. They seem, at first, you wonder if they're covered with some kind of oil or so. You just can't grab a hold of them. But you know what? It's possible that someone around this table, this internet table, has a greater grasp than me of what it might be like to try and handle small green beads that ignore friction. But I'm guessing they'd probably be pretty difficult to pick up. So yeah, you're having a little bit of difficulty doing this.
I mean, they'd be categorically impossible to pick up, wouldn't they?
I think so, yeah. maybe if it, not if they were like entirely trapped, like and had no actual physical route out, but you couldn't hold them, or like if you dropped one perfectly into your palm, it wouldn't
friction, like ignore electromagnetic friction.
I'm just...
I have a lot of questions which require numbers.
Sure. But either way, Yernak can't get them out of the jars. I mean, the jars are carryable. They're not that big. They're like,
Well,
16.
I will swiftly put them away so that people don't see that I was struggling to get beads out of the jar, and I can save some face, and I will pocket them.
Sure. Yeah, you do so. You hear Munford say, "Oh, I've seen things similar to that before. Difficult to deal with."
Yeah. Is it valuable? I'll offer him a jar to look at.
You can get some kind of pittance from it, I'm sure. Something maybe valuable to yourself. I'd value them at maybe 25 to 30 silver.
Oh.
Wow. Drinks are on you, Yernak.
Yes. So, so we haven't reached a dead end, but I think we've entered into, we're going to have to backtrack a little ways if we want to see something new.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we're going back into that misshapen room with the odd chunks of grey flesh on the floor. And I believe there was a metal door to the south, or you could go back into that corridor that leads sort of to the east. It's up to you.
Metal door to the south. The metal doors have been good so far.
I'm following you. You're the most successful and talented adventurer I know. That's one for the sound bank, Matt.
I'm really glad you said sound bank. The metal door to the south in this misshapen, unpleasantly flesh-belumped room slides back to reveal another relatively square room. The walls return to that kind of like unpleasant red coral that most of this place seems to be made of. There is a metal door to the west. And there is... Oh, what's that? The wall to the south looks like it is... made of that same soft, meaty red coral that you hacked away in the entrance room. And in the center of the room is a very large, circular, dark shaft that seems to be wafting out cold air.
Shaft going down?
Directly down. Although you can't see too far down it. From somewhere nearby, you can also hear kind of desperate, unpleasant, soft moaning noise.
Oh dear.
Meat wall, innit?
Munford says, He looks down the shaft and goes, "Rope, Yernak?"
Yes, Mr. Munford. Do I have rope? I don't know if I do have rope. Or this is just part of
I think you assume you have like general like adventuring supplies or whatever. Munford's definitely got a bit of rope, not very long, and he is proffering it to you.
Okay, yeah, I will hold the rope. Hang on. Are we going down Or are we trying to bring something up?
Oh, I just thought such a brave adventurer as yourself might wish to investigate the dark, cold shaft.
Well, I suppose I could. With a lantern?
I will hold it aloft at the top for you.
Oh, okay. Well, just hold the rope very tightly, please. And if I yell, then pull me up.
Yes. Although don't yell too sharply or we may drop it in shock.
I'm going to look pointedly at Grabina and Doran at this point. But I will tie the rope around myself.
Okay. Munford is going to hold the other end, probably with Doran, I imagine, and maybe Grabina as well. Are we all kind of holding on to make sure that Yernak doesn't topple into the pit? Yernak, are you kind of abseiling your way down the side of this?
Yeah, and although abseiling implies that I have a degree of control in how fast I descend.
Yeah, you're certainly not Dibnering your way down it. So, why don't you give me a dexterity roll, please? That great stat you've got that you've already succeeded twice at today, despite all odds.
So it's only a 6. I've rolled a 4. Incredible scenes.
So you manage to sort of semi-abseil your way down a good kind of 10 feet. And you know what? The rope doesn't go much further than this. There is... that moaning noise that you heard has distanced itself, so clearly it's not coming from down here. But what you can hear is a slightly familiar sounding crustacean clicking, clacking noise that's coming from just a little bit further down the shaft.
Oh. Can I see anything? Can I see?
No.
Oh, okay. Can I come up now? Please? Up?
If you're afraid.
There's nothing to see. It's just very dark and it keeps on going, I'm sure.
Afraid of the dark. He says this kind of like an aside to Grabino and says, well, he is terribly young. And the three of them kind of haul you back up to the surface.
Yeah, it's just nothing to see, really.
I suppose if Mr. Dunbar had thought to give you the lantern, you might have been able to see some more.
Or we would be down one lantern and one Yernak. Perish the thought.
But he came back, didn't he? Very successful.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there is, as I said, you could kind of, retreat back to where you came for various ways. Or there's a metal sliding door to the west and one of those hackable meaty walls to the south.
Should we try the meaty wall? The first one.
I wonder if that's where the noises is coming from.
Hey, I think you might be right.
Okay, I'm going to need someone to make a strength rolling, and it sounds like Grabina might be trying to hack away at this one, so why don't we...
With a 16, I'll get an 18. That's a fail.
Is anyone going to give Grabina a hand?
I'll give it a go. I rolled a 19.
Rolled a 19.
I will brandish the candelabra and set to work. And I pass.
Okay.
This candelabra is paying for itself.
Absolutely.
Especially true given that I stole it.
So you manage to scrape away that slowly regenerating and pleasant, meaty red coral to reveal another metal doorway kind of lurking behind it, as if this the meaty coral of this has grown over it rather than is the wall itself. I'm assuming we're opening up that and seeing what we can see. So you open up and find yourself in quite an empty room, a relatively empty square room. There is some more of that meaty, disgusting red coral on the wall to the west, and that's it. Oh, no, actually, you know what? I forgot the random encounter. So we'll go back to that. It's not the only thing in the room. In fact, over by the meaty red wall to the west, is a feeble, cold, pale-looking humanoid with white eyes, dressed only in ragged trousers, scraping away at the wall with a feeble moaning noise and taking big, sopping handfuls of it and going.
Does it resemble the thing that we saw?
Very much so. It does not seem to have noticed your entrance.
That can't be healthy.
I try not to eat from mysterious meat walls.
It seems somewhat occupied, certainly enough that it hasn't noticed you muttering to each other.
Good afternoon. I can't say I don't think that is probably not very healthy, sir.
Give me a willpower roll, please. No, failure. Okay. The husk-like creature sort of slowly turns around, kind of with chunks of the meaty red coral dripping from its mouth, and starts stumbling towards you with arms and claws outstretched.
Oh, I might take my sword out.
Yeah, pistol.
Yeah, it's definitely not slowing, and it's kind of stumbling towards Doran with what definitely seems like ill intent. We're going to wait for it to get to you, or is anyone going to? Is anyone going to? Offense is the best defense. This.
I think I will ready my weapon, but I don't think it's fair to say I wasn't expecting combat, so probably have reached me before my flintlock rifle is ready to fire.
Yernak, you were talking there a second, I believe.
Yeah, I just said I might get my tyrant rod and tell it to halt.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think. Have you described what your tyrant rod looks like? I think you said maybe just like a length of stone, or is it stone?
I think it's metal and bone sort of entwined a little bit. And yeah, I will sort of wand-like point it towards the thing and say in quite a booming voice, halt.
Nice. Could you describe exactly how the tyrant rod works? Like, just give us the description of how it works, if you could.
Yeah, so you can order your target to drop, halt, fall, or flee, and they roll willpower to resist.
Okay, let's give that a go then. Let's see if this creature rolls 2 or below. No. It comes to a halt with a kind of thwarted. And it's just kind of standing there like.
That was very effective.
Yeah, that seemed to work.
Seems almost like cheating to me.
At this point, I'm going to take the shot because I will have finished loading my rifle.
That's fair. Give us that damage roll then, please.
7.
Doesn't even get a chance to roll for critical. You, Doran, I'm assuming you're just kind of like, kind of rifle pose and rifle or a musket you've got. You're on mute. You're still on mute, Chris.
Still on mute.
Still on mute. You're definitely on mute. Oh, God.
Right. It's not a particularly big room to be letting off sort of muskets, right? Like, there can't be much range.
This is amazing. There's 2 Chris's in StreamYard now.
I assure you, I am not on mute.
You're not now. So is it a rifle or a musket you said you had?
It is indeed a musket.
It's a musket. Then with a great burst of smoke, the husk's head just pops like an overripe tomato and leaves kind of gobs of nasty greyish, pinkish brain matter splittered and splattered around the chamber as it sort of collapses over to one side. Quite an effective shot.
Will there be anything else, milady? Which is now my catchphrase.
Irrespective of like what's happened.
Situation irrelevant.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say. I think weird flesh zombie thing dealt with. I think Grabina's just going to kind of cheerfully start clawing away at the meat wall.
Absolutely. Sure. Well then, why don't you give me a strength roll first?
Sure. That's much more of a success. I needed 16. I got a 3.
Mm-hmm. And then why don't you give me a dexterity roll, please?
My dexterity's only 12. I pass.
Okay, then. Then as you're carving great chunks out of this, I think the 3rd horrible meaty coral wall that we've hacked apart tonight, a kind of odd quivering and shuddering on the surface of it gives you enough forewarning to kind of leap back as huge red rocky coral jaws, like a vast Venus flytrap, emerge with a burst and spray of kind of like nasty glutinous red liquid from the wall and crash down kind of about an inch from where you've lurched back. This thing, whether it be creature or trap or just natural feature, lets out a kind of thwarted creak and starts desperately trying to like crash its jaws together further into you, but it is immobile and rooted in the wall itself, so it seems unable to do so.
I don't think we should go that way.
No, definitely not. Let's choose a different way.
Munford shouts, "They tried to kill the woman, you cads! Destroy it!" And pulls out his pistols and just starts like firing them somewhat wildly towards the wall, which is cracking great chunks out of the rocky creature, which lets out a kind of a pained creaking groan. Is anyone going to join in this?
Well,
yeah, do you know what? The rifle's already out. I'll take a shot.
Sure.
Yeah, quite trigger happy today. That's another 7.
Absolutely. How about yourself, Ian? I'm assuming Grabina's going to join in as well.
Yeah, I've brought out the pistol and rolled a 6 on that.
Excellent.
So. I've rolled a 3.
Well, between all that and Munford shots, I'd say, like Munford will take a moment and kind of like quickly reload and fire again, and then this jaw beast kind of like lets out a final creaking groan and kind of lumps over to one side. Its jaws open, and from it kind of spill forth 2 muskets, a suit of crude armor with some kind of withered, blackened things inside that might have been the previous occupant's bones, and a very, very fancy-looking emerald-studded skull pendant.
Do I reckon I'm quick enough to get to the skull pendant?
Give me a dexterity roll.
I don't know how it works when there's just a bunch of treasure and rules.
Yeah, do it.
That's a fail on my dex roll.
Then you are not fast enough for the hand of Munford Dunbell, whips in, grabs out the skull pendant, and then turns to Grabina. For the lady.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
Join us next time on Simping the Odd. Yernak and Doran, this seems to leave you free to make any grabs from the muskets and the suit of crude armor that you want. Don't know if either of you want to grab anything like that.
How's the armor? I might see if I can grab a chest plate and see if it fits after extracting any goo from it.
Well, I think we can do that. Yeah, let me just take a look at it. I think crude armor is in itself a level of armor, right? I think. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It counts as bulky. So that'll go on your bulky limit. But it is armor 1, and you can indeed strap it onto yourself.
I'll do that and then double check because I'm carrying 3 bombs, 1 centipede vial, and now a bulky suit of armor. I think I'm still fine for encumbrance.
Yeah, I think it's just bulky, and I think all it means is they require 2 hands or significant storage to carry, but armor won't count like that, obviously. And if you carry 3 or more bulky items, you're reduced to 0 HP. You can still go around, you just don't have that HP shield, as it were. So you're fine at the moment. Yernak, do you want to avail yourself of a musket?
I don't think so. Sorry, do they do D8 damage?
They do D8 damage.
Yes.
Okay, so that is better than my pistol. Yeah, I'll take a musket.
It is bulky, though, so just note down that you've got a bulky item.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Grabina, are you grabbing a musket as well, or?
I guess if there's one going free, yeah.
Yeah. Just note down that you've got a musket. It does D8, and it's bulky. That's all you need to know.
Offer some helpful advice about how to fashion a little sling to keep the musket mounted on your back, which is, Mumford will probably guess, is completely synthesized because I've basically had this musket about a week and a half.
Mumford definitely raises an eyebrow, but he doesn't particularly dislike Doran Creed, so he's not going to say anything.
Grabina is utterly credulous at your musket storing skills.
Munford kind of says, well, to the victor clearly go the spoils. But it's fine. You folk need it more than I do, terribly well equipped as I do so. I've done this for a very long time, Grabina.
You do look very old, sir.
Well, it looks like the only way is behind us.
Yeah.
Experienced, Grabina. The word is experienced. But yes, let us reverse course.
Sorry, yeah. It's more syllables than I'm used to. Experienced.
So let us. I'm going to be nice here and narrow down the ways that you have not taken. At least in this session, I'm not going to go back to the very first session. So in the room with the shaft behind you, there is a door to the west, a metal door to the west. There is a corridor in which you chose to go either east or west, and you could have gone east. So there's that. And then also back in the slimy room with the slightly untrustworthy chap with the club, there was also a corridor leading east. So it's up to you which of these pathways you want to avail yourself of.
We could try doors that we haven't been to, or options that we haven't been to, as and when we come.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can.
So
in which
the next
case,
one will be the room with the shaft.
The next one will be the room with the shaft. And are you trying that metal door on the west-hand side then?
Let's do it.
That sounds good.
Well then, another mapping mystery is solved, because behind this door is a door full of empty metal cages with dry, warm air. That is the one of the doors leading out of the Welkman's abode. Yes.
Yeah, got you. Okay. Oh. Okay.
Are these cages like human sized, or are they?
They absolutely are human sized. I believe the last time we came in this room, the notion was this is definitely a horrible fucking trap, and the group just left immediately.
I think this was the last room that Helroth sort of stuck his head into before deciding that he preferred the Phobie chute.
Yes.
So humor me, the diameter and layout of these cages, would it match the big hole in the previous room, the shaft?
No.
The shaft being smaller, I assume.
Correct. They would, however, match the boxes with the jerky in them in the box room.
They'd fit inside the boxes, and the boxes would fit inside the cages.
Boxes would fit inside the cages.
This is the most unusual meat-based warehouse I have ever set foot in.
I've seen a fair bit of meat in my time, but I've not seen a place like this.
So they put the jerky material in the cage, and then they use the cage to placate some creature we have yet to come across? Feed the coral itself?
How are they making the jerky? Is there a drying process?
The air in this room does feel very hot and dry.
This must be the jerking chamber.
Now we found the name of the episode.
A new low. This episode. A new low.
A series of new lows, I think you'll find. Which means, if nothing, we are consistent. So, for a brief moment, I would like us to flick back to Helroth Terrene. Helroth, could you give me a D... How many rooms are there down there? A D20 roll, please.
That's a 7.
It is a 7. Let me find out what is in room 7.
Should I change my nameplate? I don't know.
No. It's only we're going to be there for the briefest of moments. Helroth, you are in a dull red stone chamber. The walls are soft to touch and clay-like. There is a pool in the center of the room with a gold thorn-like pattern around the outside. Milky water rippling along the surface as if something is bobbing around beneath it. But this is honestly the last thing you are concerned with, because you are desperately running around the rim of that milky water pool, trying to get away from the part rusted metallic humanoid following you, which is belling out at the top of its synthesized lungs. Stop! I must wrap you in my pain wire. You must suffer.
I say, old chap, this is not cricket.
And so we're back with the rest of the group. Are we spending any more time in the jerking chamber, or are we making our way back to the next turn off?
Well, there was actually, while we're here, the next room down has a meaty coral wall.
It does. And if you were a betting man, you'd say that is the meaty coral wall on the other side of the big stone jaws.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right.
It would seem to make sense in your mapper's mind.
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, okay, right. Disregard that. Okay, so back up to the corridor then and head east.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
In that case, you find yourself. There's no door at the end of at the other eastern end of that corridor. There is only an opening leading to quite a large chamber. The air in here is nicely cool and soothing compared to the somewhat stuffy and irony and meaty air elsewhere in this. It is also glittering faintly and goldenly. There is a passageway up to... Oh, it says that, but there is not. That's interesting. Huh, that's interesting. It's wrong. There is no passageway. There is, however, two large, heavy-looking doors, one in the north wall and one in the east wall. The one on the north wall has a very easily seen and very nicely carved symbol of a red hand in it. The one on the east wall has a very similarly carved symbol of a white hand.
What does that mean then?
Not sure.
I mean, I don't know offhand, but I'm sure, given enough.
Offhand. That's good.
Very good, sir. Very good.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. You young people can investigate those.
On the one hand, I think we should. On the other hand, I also think we should.
I've never been more uncomfortable.
I don't know. I feel like my my luck with doors so far has been appalling. So I'm going to choose the red door, and then you're not going to suggest you go and do the white door.
Good plan, Doran. Let's try that.
So I'm going to not open the red door. I'm going to go across and almost open it, and then wait to see what happens after Yernak opens his door.
Sure.
I'm going to follow.
You've learned this from Munford. Yernak, so you go over to the door with the white hand on it. What are you? Are you? It just looks like it's very nice big door, but it looks like a normal door. Are you going to try and pull it open?
I know how to open normal doors. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, this is an honest question. If I was a good GM, I would have tallied this and followed it through. And this is giving away how to open the door, but I've got a good group here. I'm sure they won't horribly exploit it. Yernak, in the combats that you've been involved in so far, have you killed anyone or anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've shot at that thing in the last room, and I think in the last session I might have.
But did you strike a killing blow?
I don't know if I did.
Against the ape men, against the nasty crustacean thing.
Just in the Iron Coral, not in the story so far.
In the story so far.
Yes, I think I might have done.
I've struck a killing blow. I think you might have as well, but we'll say that. If anyone in our audience is ridiculously knowledgeable about the series we are playing, then shout out if you think so. But I also think Yernak may have struck a killing blow against something. You do have like a pistol or something, right?
Yeah, I've got a pistol.
I think you shot an ape man in the back and killed him.
I think I did, yeah.
The door does not move.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I thought I knew how to open doors. I'll try it again.
Yeah, no. Not budging. Not in the slightest.
Given that he's not screaming in pain or melting, I will try and open the door on my side.
Okay. Have you haven't like hacked away at any of the walls or anything, have you? Or like
I know I was kind of keeping a wall at bay, and I've definitely killed someone this game as well.
You've killed someone, but like I'm basically trying to figure out something. You haven't hacked. You're not one of the individuals who's hacked away at the meaty walls this session, are you?
I was keeping the meaty wall at bay. Yes, so I was hacking at it.
Oh yes, you were, weren't you? You were.
You were shoving candelabras up it.
You were. God, the door with the red hand creaks, and it's difficult. It's very heavy, but you ease it open, and it swings aside to reveal a small room with an altar, or what looks like an altar inside it. The entire room is painted red, including the altar, and upon it, on a little kind of like almost a little presentation set of presentation struts, is a very deep red, simple glove.
Ooh. I have grown tired of life, so I'm going to go and take that glove.
Absolutely. In that case, Doran Creed, why don't you give yourself an arcanum? And the arcanum is called the Death Hand. You have no idea what it does. But the moment something relevant comes up, I'll let you know.
Mike, I just have something for clarification there.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the white hand stone? Or the
no, that was you tried to open the white hand.
Okay.
Creed open red hand.
Okay, yeah.
I think at around the same time that Doran is trying to open the red hand door, having seen Yernak fail to open the white hand door, I think I want to just kind of put a shoulder to it and see if I can essentially force my way in.
Brute force it. You definitely managed to significantly bruise your shoulder.
Cool.
It ain't budging. It's definitely not budging for you. You shot an innocent pulsating sack.
I did.
How dare.
I am a sack shooter. Okay.
Munford kind of like bustles over and kind of like, do it my bloody self, I suppose.
I think it's stuck.
Fine. Clearly it is. If the three of us tried it, there's no sense anyone else attempting it.
That's right. I guess we're heading back to the custard room.
That would seem to be the case.
Hang on, wait, the custard room?
Well, the yellow...
Oh,
the yellow slime.
Liquid. Could be pus. Could be custard. Could be
Pustard.
Okay. We're heading back to that room. The untrustworthy treasure hunter is gone, which is sad because I kind of wanted to do his voice again. And that corridor leading to the east beckons. You walk down it and find yourself in a very large room. It's very long north to south. There is a very large door on the northern side of it that is covered in odd symbols and a braiding pattern. And there is this corridor, I should say, had some steps leading down, so you kind of moved just a little bit down from where you were. On the south side of this large room, there is also another set of stairs, a much bigger looking set of stairs that seems to lead downwards and to the south. And in the center of the floor of this room is a 10-foot glass dome full of swaying water that's kind of churns and spins slightly in place.
Does it feel like the north mental geography? Does it feel like the north end of this room juts out beyond where that kind of northerly windowed area
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You're much further to the north and east than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll investigate the glass dome.
Sure. As you walk a bit closer to it, the water kind of like swells towards you and sort of washes up against the side of the dome in quite an aggravated fashion. Munford takes a kind of couple of steps forward and says, boy, back a little.
Yes, Mr. Munford.
Where I am now is perfectly safe, but you should not come any closer. I've seen exactly this kind of threatening system before. Just stand a little bit back, if you please. He's kind of waving for you all to put a good distance between yourself and it.
Okay, keep my distance.
Seems quite scared, doesn't he? I'll say to the others.
I am not scared, young lady. I feel like perhaps my status and my veterancy has been underestimated to a certain degree so far in this expedition, and I wish to remind you that I, Munford Dunbell, one of the preeminent explorers and gentlemen of Bastion, am here providing this service to you as both an education and a way in which you can accompany me and gather riches for yourself. Up until this point, things have been certainly rather dangerous, a little dangerous, but the deeper we go down, the more dangerous these things become, as I'm sure Mr. Tureen has found out deep below us. We have a set of stairs going down here, and this is the moment, friends, this is the moment, companions and assistants, that things may become truly. At that point, the glass dome behind him erupts in a shower of shards and water. A colossal yellow sea beast, a worm serpent of some kind, reaches out, rears its grotesque head, and snaps Munford Dumbbell up within its jaws before retreating quickly beneath the churning waters, leaving only a small set of pinch nose glasses and a pair of boots, the tops of which are rather messy and red. And I think at that point, folks, we'll leave our session there. Mumford, no!
He talked to
You were such a good, kind man. So there we go, folks. If you've got any comments or questions, please sling them in the chat and we will address them. In the meantime, have some promo. If you check down below, you'll find links to YouTube, links to Twitch. All of our stream sessions go on YouTube. There are a lot of them over there now. If you want to check them out, please do follow and subscribe, all blah, 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 all that good stuff. There's also links to our social media, our Discord and our Patreon. They all do the things you might suspect. Please do have a look at them. We run 3 weekly games at the moment. Mondays are Warhammer Fantasy. Wednesdays, that's this, is Into the Odd. And Thursdays is our World of Darkness anthology series, Cincinnati Chronicles, which is currently in its Wraith the Oblivion arc. We also run one-shots once a month. The next one is coming up this Saturday. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon BST. We'll be playing Mork Borg for the second time. No need to watch the first one, but if you would like to, it is on our YouTube. We will also be running a giveaway of a limited Kickstarter edition copy of the Mork Borg core book. So get involved if you want to have that on your shelves, or at least stand a chance of having it on your shelves. Also, we have some followers to acknowledge since last time. Welcome along to HG Jace, Pearswood, Pearsword rather, Michael Harmonart, Delarist, and Zenio M. Thank you for your lovely follows. So let me go through the chats because we have no. I don't think we've got anyone else with admin rights on this one, so we will take a second to look through things. This one from Mike. Here to bring you more Dibner, all the time.
Disappointing lack of towers in this episode for us.
There we go. John even left some context. If anyone wants to know who Fred Dibner is,
I can't imagine anyone doesn't know who Fred Dibner is. He's like, he's the person. He's like the Michael Jackson of steeplejacks. Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure a significant part of our audience had to Google what a steeplejack was last time this came out.
I mean, for all I know, he's very like Michael Jackson in that he was an English celebrity from the 70s. So who knows? Just bad-mouthing the legacy of Fred Dibner there. John said, John recommends finding clips on his work on YouTube unless you're scared of heights or northerners, which is very, very accurate.
I think if you're scared of northerners, you are on the wrong stream.
Probably, yeah, it's true. Being as there are 3 northerners here, so nothing compares to the foamy shoot. Self-explanatory. What else have we got? The general state of UK internet is disappointing. Awkward moment. How are you there in the UK, Chris?
Oh, don't you even start. I have so many songs that will get us demonetized.
Excellent. One from Don't Kick Food here. I missed pretty much everything due to a phone call and return to scraping the meaty wall.
There was a hell of a lot of
prog rock songs.
Yeah.
Tremendous amounts of verbing the meaty wall tonight.
Yeah. It's been an explosion of innuendo, foul innuendo.
Really nasty.
Steve says we really should compile a soundboard. The thing is, I'm not sure about my sound effects because obviously I'm not one of those like online streaming GMs who can do the sound of 20 different creaking doors in a dungeon. Not talking about anyone in particular. Why would I be? But I do have a suspicion when I come out with weird voices or whatever for my little Into the Odd NPCs, I do have a vague suspicion that if I listen back to them, they would all be identical. So I don't know.
There's only one way to find out, and that is when this series is finished. Like someone's going to do a supercut.
Yeah, for sure.
I might have just volunteered myself.
Absolutely. One from Steve. If you've watched this episode, don't forget to take 1d6 psychic damage. Yeah, and I believe he said this. Welcome to Telling Tales, where we play atmospheric and slightly spooky TTRPGs. I believe he said that when we were talking about the jerking chamber. So there we go.
Yeah, the sort of like, I think the atmosphere in this case is kind of just cloying innuendo.
Definitely. Hands down the best episode for Malice, though, which... I don't know, Malice. That might say something more about you than about us. I don't know.
You wait till next week.
And I would like Chris to read out this quote from Steve.
Oh my God. Doran was thrusting the candelabra into the meaty wall.
Oh dear. If you like more ridiculous, over-the-top, stupid, filthy innuendo like that, definitely tune in for Wraith the Oblivion tomorrow. It's going to be a very similar kind of stream. Don't Kick Food says, "Oh, you're doing Deep Blue Sea." Please do tell me the timestamp of that, if it's before or after Munford was gobbled up. If it is before it, well done. Yes, I absolutely was Deep Blue Seeing him. 100%.
Before or after Mumford got the Yumford?
Nice. He's Dunford now.
He's Dunford.
In a session full of low points.
That was
outdone ourselves again.
Yeah.
I'd like to say on record as well, Stephen, your misadventure work in that was a real high in a sea of low moments.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, well done. Feel going a bit Munford myself there. Not only did it turn out like Deep Blue Sea, it was literally I read that room and went, oh, that's where I can get rid of Munford, like Deep Blue Sea. So yeah, 100%. 42 says, who's going to take the boots? Steve says they might be more like shoes now. 42 says, I am scared that if I win the Mort Board book, you will need to take out a loan to send it to me. No, it's fine. If you live outside of like Europe, it will be, it would be a price that you'd go, ooh, should I? It's a giveaway. That's the point of it. So
is this where we find out that 42 is like a scientist on the kind of like Antarctic research station?
Yeah, or on the ISS or something. Yeah.
Well,
hey, if you're
from Earth.
Yeah, if you're at McMurdo, I might have to wait until you get back. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Some extra information about Fred Dibner here from John. Apparently, everyone apart from his ex-wife maintains he's lovely. And the worst she said about him publicly is that he's too enthusiastic about chimneys.
I mean, to look at the context of John posting that message, it's not clear whether he's talking about Dibner or Jackson.
Sure, absolutely. And of course, we need to know whether it was before or after Munford got eaten. No one enjoying that. Never mind. And one last one from Steve. Wraith the Oblivion, predictably raunchy. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be raunchy. It's going to be hilarious. It definitely won't be a soul-searing commentary on the inevitable annihilation of the self. So, with that in mind, join us tomorrow for Wraith, everyone, and join us on Saturday for Mork Borg. We hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Thank you to my wonderful players. And obviously, we struggled a bit tonight with absences and Tinternet, but come back next week where everything will be all resolved and will be perfect. I promise. So, thanks, everyone. Goodbye.